Hello and thank you for taking part in this digital drop-in with Google and Parent Zone. My name's Chelsea and we've got our online safety expert Tim in the chat box too. Now we'd love for you to say hello and let us know where you're watching from today, so please do introduce yourselves in the chat box, don't be shy. Now, Tim and I are part of a team in charge of Be Internet Legends, a programme designed by Google and Parent Zone to help families become savvier, safer and more confident online. Now, over the last few months, we've been asking parents and carers what topics they'd like us to cover in these digital drop-ins, and protecting personal information was one of the top answers. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, this drop-in is one of several that we're doing, including sessions on cyberbullying, sharing carefully and being internet brave. And we're always happy to hear what topics that you'd like us to cover in these digital drop-ins. So if you've got any thoughts or suggestions or requests, please do pop them in the chat. Now, the plan for this session is to talk about how we teach children to protect their personal information online. Now, this includes understanding why internet security is so important and the steps that they can take, building mega strong passwords, which are the foundation of good internet security, and developing really helpful routines. So this includes updating and checking their privacy settings from time to time. Now, we really want the next 15 minutes to be as useful and as practical as we can make them. And we know that some of the best ideas are going to come from you, sharing your top tips and words of wisdom parent to parent. So any advice or any questions, please do pop them in the chat box. Tim's there waiting and I'll be answering them as we go along. Now, before I go any further, I do just want to check that you can see me okay. Now, if I do look a little bit blurry, I recommend refreshing the page on your computer or your tablet or your phone, or you can adjust the settings by clicking on the little cog in the bottom right and selecting quality. And don't worry about missing a thing because you can always watch this back later. Now, as I said, Tim and I are part of a team that's been teaching an internet safety programme called Be Internet Legends in schools for almost 4 years now. Some of you might have heard about it from your children, or perhaps you've attended another one of these digital drop-ins. Now, we deliver really fun interactive assemblies like these, and then teachers follow up in the classroom with lessons that are part of a full curriculum. Now, throughout the pandemic, we've been supporting schools and families from afar using the power of tech. Be Internet Legends teaches children 5 really important safety pillars. Now, these are a mixture of skills and behaviours that cover the most important things for children to remember whenever they go online. Now, that includes being sharp, being alert, being secure, being kind, and brave. Now, if you do want to find out more about all the 5 pillars, do check out Google's parent page, and Tim is popping a link to that in the chat box now. And Tim's also popped the link for our teaching resources there, free to download, so if you did want to check those out, make sure you download it. Now, the programme does cover a lot more than protecting personal information, but that's what we're going to concentrate on today. I'm going to explain what we teach children about it so that you can apply the same approach at home if you decide it'll be useful for you and your family. So let's get started. How can we make sure that children understand how to keep private stuff private? What do we need to teach them about the tools that they can use and the behaviours that we want to encourage? In Be Internet Legends, this is all covered in the Be Internet Secure pillar, and that's what I'm going to concentrate on for the next 10 to 15 minutes. As I've already said, the programme does cover 5 pillars, so do have a look at the others when you've got some time, or do join us for another one of our digital drop-ins. Now, when we're teaching children to be internet secure, the first thing we encourage them to think about is what's personal and what should be kept private. Now, this might sound really obvious, but in a world where children are used to sharing loads of information online and seeing their favourite celebrities share almost everything, it can be really important to explain exactly what we mean. Now, there are some important rules that children should know, like never ever sharing their private contact details with strangers or anybody they don't know offline, and this includes in messaging apps. Never sharing pictures of themselves that give away personal information, like their home address or what school they go to. And never sharing their passwords with anybody other than you if you feel like it's important for you to know it. And that's obviously a decision for you to make together as a family. Now, we talk about passwords a lot in the Be Internet Legends Assembly because they really are the first building block of good internet security. So it's a really important topic for children to understand. We want them to know how to create a strong password and why they're so important. Now, unfortunately, children sometimes share their passwords as a sign of friendship, and this can often cause problems. Now, we encourage them to think about why that's not a very good idea by giving them an offline example that they can relate to. So, in the assembly, we say you have your house and you've got your key where you lock the front door and open the front door. Now, this key is super important, and you wouldn't just give the key to your house to anybody, would you? No, and this is exactly the same with your passwords. Now, it is a really straightforward message and one that you can reinforce at home. Now, you might be surprised to find out that your child has already shared a password, and if they have, you can work together to create a new super secure one. If they've had a Be Internet Legends assembly, they will have already been taught some tips and tricks to make some super secure passwords. Now, this includes things like picking a unique word or phrase that's really tricky for anybody to guess. So not the name of your pet or your favourite sports team, because that is just too easy. Making sure your password has at least 8 characters. And making sure those characters are a mixture of capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers and symbols. We also talk about how you can swap out some letters with symbols or numbers that look similar. So we talk about changing an E to a 3 because a 3 kind of looks like a backwards capital E, and changing an S into a 5. Now, if you do have some techniques of your own to create super secure passwords, please do pop them in the chat box and I'll share them with everybody in a moment. Finally, on passwords, we remind them that as tempting as it might be, it's really important to avoid using the same password for lots of different accounts. In the same way you don't use the same key for your front door and your car. And we tell them that it's a really good idea to change it often too. Now, this is difficult, I know, but it's something that we should all be trying to do. Now, that is a lot on passwords, but like I say, they really are the foundation of good internet security. So we want children to think really carefully about them. Now, there are some more password tips on Google's Be Internet Legends parent page, including information on a password manager that you might find useful. And Tim's going to pop a link for that in the chat box if you did want to check it out. So, if passwords are that super strong starting point for good online security, what other things do we need to be teaching children? Here are some really important messages. They need to make sure they log out of any application that they're using, especially if they're using a shared device, maybe at school or in the local library, because closing the browser just is not enough. Now, they also need to remember to make sure that their privacy settings are what they want them to be, and remember to check them and update them from time to time. Now, this is something that you might be able to help your children with, perhaps making it part of your routine. So maybe like on the first day of term, you might help your child check their school bag to make sure they've got everything they need. Maybe that's a good time to check all their security settings as well. Now, another one, and this is something lots of children forget to do, is setting their devices to auto lock so that if they do get lost, other people can't access their personal information. Now, most websites and apps will have all these settings under the My Accounts or Settings option. Now, from here, you can adjust things like what information is visible on your profile, who can view your posts, your photos, videos, or any other content you might share, and what content you can see when you visit. Now, I think it's amazing how quickly children seem to be able to use technology. They can pick up any device and seem to be able to use it and know how it works straight away. But it is really important to remember that children aren't always great at using the tools and settings that are designed to keep them safer. Now, research does suggest that quite a big proportion will share their passwords with a friend or forget to auto-lock their device. And considering that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is still one of the most common passwords used by people on the internet, it is really important to help children understand the importance of good internet security now. And finally, there's one more thing that crops up a lot in Be Internet Legends, and that's reminding your children to talk to you if they're ever worried or confused or unsure about anything. Now, it's the final pillar of Be Internet Legends programme, and it's Be Internet Brave. When in doubt, discuss. Now, it can be really hard for children to talk about things that have happened online, especially if they've broken a rule or they've done something they've been asked not to. But it is so important. Now, if you can, try and get them into the habit of talking to you about what they've been doing online. So then it'll be easier for them to be brave and come and talk to you or another trusted adult if something does go wrong or they need help. Now, working together to set up those super strong passwords or updating those privacy settings is a great way to get the conversation started. So I hope that was useful. I really enjoyed chatting with you today. Now, Google's Be Internet Legends parent page has loads more help on the subject. So Tim's going to pop a link for that in the chat box, along with a link to the Parent Zone website, where you can find even more useful information. But that's not all. If you have found this useful, why not come to another one of our digital drop-ins? Now, we're doing them all the way to throughout the term, and we've got sessions on cyberbullying, to sharing carefully, protecting personal information again, and being internet brave. Now, Tim's going to pop a link in the chat box for the timetable, and do share that timetable with any of your friends who you think might want to join us for another one of our digital drop-ins. Now, Google, Parent Zone and Aardman are inviting you to embark on the Legends Family Adventure, a 3-part animated series that follows a family of internauts on an adventure through Interland. Now, I'd really recommend you watching this with your children. There's 3 episodes, each about 3 minutes each, and it can again really help open up some conversations about what we've been talking about today. Now, Parent Zone's Parent Hub has loads of fun, free activities that are designed for families to do together. Now, there's something for every pillar of the Legends Code, from kindometers to password poetry. And if you sign up to our newsletter, you'll be the first to hear of any new activities or resources. And Tim's going to pop a link for that in the chat box. Now, finally, have you played Interland? Now, it's a fantastic online game filled with challenges from the Legends Code. Now, children really love it, and they're really good at it too. Why not all play together as a family, have a little bit of a competition, see who can get the highest score? Maybe loser has to do dishes. Now, if you are doing that, watch out for mindful mounting because it is super tricky. So that is everything from me. Now Tim's going to pop a final link in that chat box to a short survey. Now it'll take about 30 seconds to fill in, and it'll just help us know what you thought of this digital drop-in, maybe how we can make them better in the future, and if there are any other topics you'd like us to explore. And don't hesitate to get in touch with us via Instagram or on email. All our information is on the screen now. Maybe you want to share some of your child's password poetry, because we would love to hear it. We're always glad to hear from parents, and remember, there is no such thing as a bad question. So if something pops into your mind and you'd like help with an answer, let us know, because we're here to help. Now I'm just going to double check the chat box before I say goodbye. Make sure I've not missed anything. Fab. Cheers, Tim. Loads of really useful links in there. So make sure you copy them down and check them out. Have a look through them when you've got some time. So thank you for joining us today. I'm really looking forward to you maybe joining us again for another one of our digital drop-ins. Spread the word, let your friends know, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.